Hey guys, what's up? This is me again, back with another episode for the functions. So we will continue from from where we left last. So today we will be learning about scopes, the local scopes and global scopes. So what exactly scope is? So you can call a scope as a boundary under which the functions are the parameters and variables are defined. So for uh, each function there could be a local boundary and the global boundary, or local scope or the global scope. So local scope, we can say whenever you define a function within uh, you know in the within a function, whenever you define a parameter or a variable within the function, that would be considered as a local scope, right? Because it's within the function, and uh, and whenever you do so in the outside a function, we will call it as a global scope, right? So so any variable that is inside a local function or local scope, we call it as a local variable. And so the same goes for the global variable. If you are defining it outside the function, it will be a global variable, right? So basically, the scope acts as a container for variables, right? So also you need to keep one thing in the mind, right? That whenever you are defining a scope, it gets destroyed each time you reinitialize another function. Okay, so for example, uh, whenever you are creating function whenever you're creating a value within the function, it will just stay over there, and as soon as you go over to another function, the older value get destroyed, or older scope get destroyed and new scope gets created. Okay, and also there's one thing: the global scope can be one. There can be only one global variable. I mean, one global scope. You cannot have multiple global scopes. Okay, and we will see how it looks like in practical. Okay, so there are few things when it comes to scope. Any code in global scopes, uh, you know, um, cannot use any local variables. If you have the same, so try to keep your variables distinct. Okay, and a local scope, however, I mean, local scope can use the global variables. Okay, and the the functions local scope cannot use variables in any other local scope. So if you have two functions and there are two different local scopes, cannot use the variables in other local scope. Like if I say I have a scope one, I have a function which actually prints me the name on the input of the user, or prints the name or prints the age of a user or whatnot. And there is another parameter on the another variable or another parameter in a different function which we call as a contact number. We cannot use name from the older variable to the newer older function to the newer one, right? So it will destroy and it will create different thing, different whole different idea will be there. So let's jump on to this global scope and local scope. So I will do it somewhat here. So what I will say, first I will write a shebang line and say slash usr slash bins slash python 3, and I will say, okay, def uh, name. So I will write def name and I say this. I'm not providing any parameters here, right? It's not parameterized function. I will say f name equals to Himanshu, right? And l name equals to, okay. So what it says that I have this f name and l name over here. Okay. So now, if I want to use it somewhere out, so now let's do first thing. First thing first. So I will say print f name plus l name. right? And now what I wanted to say, I will say next time I will say name, and if I say this, I will just save it back to the directory. I will just go here, Python tutorials, I will call it scopes.py, and as I do it, and I will run it, right? If I say F5, Himanshu, okay, this is my name. It printed my name here, right? So in this case, these are the local variables that I have defined, right? But I cannot just go ahead and call something like this, right? If I say print f name, which is outside outside my local scope, and I will save it, and what I will do is just hit again, right? F name is not defined because it's not available here, it's not available globally. So now there's one more thing called global statements. So what global statements are? Basically, this thing you see here is the global statement. It's not a big difference. So for example, if I will just delete this function, and I will say def school, a school name is I'm calling, okay, and I say I will just sign a global, like global statement here. So if I say global and name, I'm just setting global as name, and I say name equals to A, B, C. We say valley high. Okay. So name equals to valley high. Now I will say name is equals to global. Just for example, to understand this, and then I will say call school and go here, and then what I will do, I will print name, right? And I will just hit a function F5, and we will see the result. See what is happening here. I've actually defined a global state. I said global name equals this, right? This is a global statement that I defined. Okay, global statement is name, and I'm defining it within the scope of the function. Right, I'm saying okay, use this name, set the name as a global statement, and I'm setting value of the global statement as value high. That is name as high, and even if I set the value of this name thing, right, outside the function, this won't actually override this because what I'm saying, okay, the name is this, right, and just set to global. So just use this, right? And if I say school, and I'm calling the school function, and I'm saying print name will not be this, it will be this, right? So this is how the global function works, the global statement works on. Okay. Now this is the one part.